Welcome to Queer in Theology and Philosophy and Spirituality. And today we are going to discuss about Muslim and Christian relations across the world and interactions again across the world. And today is the day people mark all over the world the memory of September 11th when the two Twin Towers came down after being hit by planes that were hijacked by terrorists. And ever since September 11th, 2001, the world changed. It has never been the same again. If you look at it politically, the whole thing of when the planes came down, the people were shocked. It had never happened on U.S. soil, and it led to invasions in Arab countries. Now, when these invasions happened in the Arab countries, it brought back memories of the Crusades in the medieval period. And so when America invaded Iraq and Afghanistan in response to what happened on September 11th, instead of leading to the end of terrorism, and so more terrorists, they saw this as a crusade that the Western Christian bloc was now attacking them. And basically, it was a war. War began in 2001 after that. And they, they started, more terrorist attacks happened. And they were attacking Western installations in different countries. And you now remember what happened to all of these people in which country? I mean, in Eastern Africa, and then Al Shabaab grew up and the Kong came up and did all the damage it could do. Then you had Boko Haram, it also started its harm, and then ISIS came up. So, and these wars caused a lot of cost. They cost the American economy and the world economy because it's at that time, 2007, 2008, that the world economy collapsed. And it's all, if you go back to what happened, it was because of the war. The war was so expensive, so America had to spend a lot of money. Now, when America was spending a lot of money, it affected the economy in different ways. Even getting mortgages was hard. Because interest rates were going up. And so people wanted to get cheap mortgages. And all of that was caused, you have to know the secret of life and the world is we are united. Everything is interconnected. You may not really see it, but it's actually like that. Because what affects one country will affect another country and will affect another country. So, and then ISIS was born because they now felt that they needed to pay back for all of the damage that was caused by America and other Western forces staying in their countries. And this again strained Muslim Christian relations because this was happening when now churches wanted to come together and join with the Muslim. This is when the interfaith community started. Now, interfaith means diverse faiths coming together and sharing and accepting each other, knowing that their faith is different from each other, but it is still leading to God. Unlike exclusivity that is found in very many radical religious sects, whereby they feel they are the only ones who have access to God and the rest don't have access. So that's what brings about radicalism, or what you call fundamentalism. Fundamentalism is whereby you are so rooted in your religion that you know it is only your religion that can give the answer to everything. And many of us can fall into those traps, especially if you are in very dire straits. Like I told you what happened in Iraq and the Middle East when America invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. It radicalized many Muslims in that area because they knew this was a crusade. Now you must understand Islam. Islam came after Christianity. Very important. That's why we did the video of the ages of the religions. Islam did not start before Hinduism. Islam did not start before Judaism. Islam didn't start before Christianity. It came after this. This is why when you read the Quran, it contains things from Judaism and Christianity and also Hinduism, because Hindus fast and Hindus meditate. So as I told you, the first come, first serve, first come, first conquer. Hinduism was the first organized religion and therefore conquered all religions because people borrowed different rites from Hinduism. Some they didn't use, others they borrowed, and that's what happened. So Islam borrowed also from Christianity because it borrows stories from Christianity, and it also borrowed stories from Judaism. Because if Islam was really an original religion that was not Abrahamic, it would not allude to Abraham. But you see, it alluded to Abraham, who was already talked about in Jewish scriptures and was already affirmed by Christian theologians. And when you study the life of Prophet Muhammad, he spent a lot of time in Jerusalem. And who was in Jerusalem? In Jerusalem, there were Christians and Jewish leaders. They were in Jerusalem. And Muhammad, before he wrote the Quran, or before he got the Quran, he used to spend time listening to discussions, trying to find out what is the truth, what's the truth about life. He was just a seeker of truth. And when he said he had his revelation and of the angel coming to him and telling him that he's a prophet and he should go out and preach the message of Islam and that he's a prophet of God, he did that. And one thing you need to know, Muhammad used force. He used military force because the Arab world was not Christian and was not Jewish. And there were some, North Africa was Christian. And Middle East was polytheistic. They were worshipping other gods. Even Allah, the name Allah, is of a god that is a foreign god. I'll tell you next time when we're going to study the gods of the Arab world. They had very many gods. They had the moon god. They had even the Kaaba and all of these things. Where the Kaaba is, these were gods. They had shrines. And so when Muhammad rose up, he was like Moses. Moses was very monotheistic. And before Moses came, most Jews were polytheistic. Remember Rachel, the wife of Israel, or Jacob, she had idols. And Rachel was a Syrian because when Jacob went to work for Laban, his uncle, he was in Syria. That's where they lived. So Syria, people worshipped many gods. Israel worshipped many gods. That's why you find the word Elohim. It is many gods. And then El is one God. And then Allah, Eloah in Hebrew, is similar to Allah because that is the one God. But in the Arab world, Allah was another God. And Muhammad, when he picked the name, he used the name Allah. Now, this is things most Muslims don't know. You have to do it by research. And some of them will not believe it, but I'm saying what I've read. So I'm not going to push it to you to believe. You just go and do your research. So because of being monotheistic, monotheistic people, they are very violent towards polytheists. And they always destroy polytheists. Look at what Idi Amin did in Uganda. Do you know why he chased away Indians? people never ask themselves why he did it. It was for a religious reason. He was tired. He was a Muslim. And he was tired of seeing idols, because the Hindus are polytheistic. They worship idols. If you see their temples, their gods, doing that, standing there. And so there are very many gods there. Some of them are naked. And they put those statues in the temples. So in Islam, it is a sin. It is haram to worship idols. So Idi Amin was a very serious Muslim. Very serious Muslim. And so he woke up. It was a dream. He said he had a dream that there were no Indians in Uganda. And he wanted them gone because they are idol worshippers. And they left. And they left with immediate effect. The good thing, he didn't destroy those temples. There are still some temples in Kampala. If you go there, and you'll see that the temples are there. But the Indians still, till today, they are not really accepted in their society, because they believe, first of all, they were foreigners. Then secondly, they had a very weird religion that was not common to the Ugandans, especially a Muslim like Idi Amin, and Christians, because also Christians tend to be monotheistic. Only that it is a quasi-monotheism, because they have God the Father, they have God the Son, and they have God the Holy Spirit. And then in the Roman Catholic Church, you have Mary, who is also adored for carrying Jesus. So in the Catholic Church, that's why they are free with objects. They can make pictures of Jesus, Mary, and sometimes, because that's how they are also quasi-polytheistic. I won't talk about Catholicism right now, but they do that for a reason, to kind of connect with the ancient populations that like looking at something and seeing an object of veneration. Because even it happened in Moses' time. Did you know Moses built a serpent, a bronze serpent? And when God told him to build a bronze serpent, to make a bronze serpent. And when the bronze serpent was put on a pole, all the people who were sick in the camp got healed. Now, do you know what happened? That's weird. This is not a contradiction of creating idols. It is, because God told the Israelites, do not make any other gods do not worship any other gods apart from me. But you find Moses put a bronze serpent on a pole, and the people, whoever looked at the pole, got well. Now the story in Moses' time, it goes like this. They didn't destroy the bronze serpent. Nakash, that's the serpent. They didn't destroy it. So they kept it even until Moses died. And it was taken to Israel, and it was kept, believe it or not, in the temple. It was kept. And there was one of the kings, I can't remember his name, but when I'll do this story, I'll tell you. He destroyed it. He burnt the bronze serpent. So you can imagine that Israel was also a serpentine cult. They had a serpentine cult. Yet, this bronze serpent, was created by Moses, who was a monotheistic person. But God told him to make a bronze serpent. So when we're going to study serpent theology, we will look at the ancient people that worship the serpent. And I think this is where Moses got the idea. But what I was just trying to show you is that idols were not in Abrahamic faiths. And so Abrahamic faiths act very violently towards polytheists. This is what made Muhammad violent. Muhammad was not violent in Jerusalem, because even though the Quran talks about hate, he didn't like Christianity, because by the time Muhammad started Islam, Christianity already had paintings. They were already painting Jesus they were painting Mary, they were painting the saints. So he was angry. If you read the Quran, you'll read the scriptures whereby he's rebuking Christians for venerating objects and persons and trying to draw Jesus. This is why Muhammad, there's no picture of him, because he didn't want to be worshipped. He said only Allah should be worshipped and nobody else, and there will be no depiction even of Allah or anyone. So that's what happened. Now, so when a monotheist sees a polytheist, they act violent, and so that's why Muhammad used violence in the Arab world, because there were many polytheists and they were beaten. Then when he went to North Africa, they found churches. They were also destroyed. They were all attacked, rather. And Islam was now planted in North Africa. It was a Christian area. And it was also gone to the Muslims. Now, after Muhammad's time, Islam really, it was an organized religion, a new one. And it became the state religion of the Arab world. And when that happened, the Arab world experienced a renaissance that they were very intellectual, they were very good in mathematics, very good in architecture. I mean, when you look at the mosques, beautiful artwork. The calligraphy, it was because they got a new thing. See, the beauty of having new things, there's a new burst of energy and creativity. So that's what happened in the Arab world. And they became so good, they were using conquest to get countries. So good, they got Spain. So Spain was ruled by Muslims for some time, called the Moors. But the Moors were very good rulers in the sense that they didn't attack Christians and Jews, but they created what was called the dhimmi system. In the dhimmi system, if you are not a Muslim, you are allowed to keep your system, but you're not allowed to mix with the Muslims. So the dhimmi system allowed the Christians and the Jews in Spain to live amongst them. Now, when that happened in Spain, Europe was very scared, because Muslims now had come to live in Europe for the first time. It had never happened. And this was the time when the Catholic Church was one. There was no Protestant church. All the church in Europe was Catholic. And what they did, they said, the Pope, I think Pope Urban, woke up and said, it's time to take back Jerusalem. Because when the Moors had taken Spain, Jerusalem was also under Muslim rule. There were caliphs, who ruled Israel. They ruled Jerusalem. And so the Pope at that time, who was the super head, he was the president of Europe, declared that we need to declare crusade. Crusade means crusader, to mark with a cross. So every time they were marking with a cross, wherever they would go, to preach. And jihad is the effort. The effort. And that is the Islamic form of crusade. And have you noticed, it's only Christianity and Islam that have crusades. Jews are not bothered about that, thankfully. They don't proselytize, or they don't conquer. That's not what they do. Jews are different. They are, as you know, they just focus on work. They don't have time for conquering people's minds like Christianity and Islam, which they did. So now the Christians came to Middle East to take away Jerusalem from the Muslims. So that's what was the Crusades. So there was more than one Crusades, because the Christians went one time and they fought and they lost, and they would go back again to plan. But when they did it first, that's when the Moors collapsed. They now left Spain, and Spain was retaken and now became part of the Christian Empire. Then again, another crusade happened. Now, in these crusades, what happened was rape, pillaging, killing, and burning of, and destruction of property in the Middle East. So this history is recorded by Muslim historians. And Muslims value that time because they really didn't like it. It was the time of their renaissance, it was their golden age. And all of a sudden, as they were rising, the Christian European nations came and attacked them because they were fighting for Jerusalem. And until today, this is why we are still having problems in Israel. It is the crisis of the what reason, but I think for one reason, a very vital point in a very important city in religion, both to Jews, to Christians, and to Muslims. So that's why, and that's why till today it's a hot issue. I mean, Paraguay removed the embassy from Jerusalem, and Israel paid back by closing the embassy in Paraguay. Why? It's that serious. Because Israel wants countries to support them, that Jerusalem belongs to Israel. Now, when Paraguay has done that, it is meaning Israel is losing its friends, those friends who support it, that says Jerusalem belongs to Israel. That's what people need to understand about Jerusalem, the power of Jerusalem. Now, so when these knights, the Crusaders came to the Middle East and did all of the pillaging, the Muslim historians wrote this, and they've been teaching it to their adherents for all these years. So the Muslim knows in his heart that a Christian just wants to come and conquer because of history. You see, remember what I said in my other video? Religion is history. The other spelling, if you want to spell the word religion, it is spelled history. It is just history. It's the past. There's nothing. Most religions are not futuristic. They are historic. Futurism in religion is the promise of a coming king or a new kingdom or the world being destroyed. That is the futurism in religion. But history is what holds religion, because without history, you have no right to attack people. Like, you see, if there was no crusades, there is no right for a Muslim to commit terrorist attacks in Europe. But because that history exists, Muslims use that, the radical Muslims, not all Muslims, radical Muslims use that to attack Western installations, because they will say these people also attacked us thousands of years ago, so we are revenging and we are doing jihad, and when we die in it, we'll go to heaven. You see, that's what has happened. So all of this has been happening for many years and has never been solved. So the interfaith union is a very new union that has come because of knowledge, the tolerance of other faiths. People now are understanding that it's important for us to know what other people believe rather than fight each other. Because believe me, if we didn't have that tolerance or the knowledge of those other religions, today there would be crusades. Today, right now, Christians will be fighting Muslims forever. Yes, because the history is there to back each other. The history is there. So anyway, that's what happened. Now, let's come to an end of this. Why did I want to do this video? I wanted to do this video to explain to people the importance of fostering relations amongst Muslims and Christians. It is based on the fact that nobody has the final say on truth. What I mean by this is, a Christian says that the way to salvation, or to the truth, is for you to be in heaven, you must be a Christian. That is the Christian belief. The Muslim belief is for you to go to heaven, you must be a Muslim. So what does that tell you? Someone is saying 1 + 1 = 3, And another one is saying 1 plus 1 equals 4. Now, who is right? You have to judge. You have to judge. You have to pick. And so people have come to say that Christians are right, Muslims are right, on the basis of um, you, as long as you claim to worship God, and we all worshiping, but in different ways. That is what interfaith is all about. Now, the problem that interfaith is facing is there are some things that happen in Islam that Christians don't like. One of the things, and I had this discussion with some people, and that's what prompted me to do the video. They are not, really don't value the interfaith relationship because they say, why should Christians go and befriend Muslims when they don't respect us? You know, they attack our churches, they practice honor killing, they oppress the women, and all of these things. That's what they say. And I told them, okay, Islam does, or some sects in Islam allow that thing. First of all, there's this collectivism that we always use when we're talking about people that is a bit dangerous. And the world is heading to, like, if you find an Islamophobe, deal with him as that. But don't say all white people are Islamophobes, because if you speak like that and you're a religious leader, your followers will believe that. And when they see a white person, they will just know this person is Islamophobe, he hates Islam and is coming to kill us. So what do? They kill that person. Then when you kill that white person, the white people now come and say, oh, anyone who has the name Muhammad or Abdullah or Salim, never take him to the country. See, that's what Trump did. Trump blocked Muslim, he blocked Muslim immigrants from going to America. Why? Because he has sunk into the collectivist thinking, collectivist theory that all Muslims are bad. Why? Because when they see whites, they'll say all whites are bad. So it's a revenge. It's eye for an eye for an eye. But I am for specification, whereby not all Muslims are radical. Not all Christians are homophobic. Not all Hindus are racist. So you take the ones who have espoused racism, who have espoused Islamophobia, who have espoused even Christophobia, because I am understanding what Christians are saying. You know, you also have to give time. In this process, you also have to give time to listen to Christians, what they are saying. And Christians are feeling like they are feared by Muslims. Because how many churches are in Saudi Arabia? But how many mosques are in New York? So if you count the number of mosques in New York and the numbers of churches in Saudi Arabia, what will that tell you about America? America is more tolerant to Islam than Saudi Arabia is tolerant to Christianity. Reason being, Islam does not allow for conversion of a Muslim. They don't allow you to proselytize. Once a Muslim, always a Muslim. And if you dare change, they can even kill you for that. So you see, it is a controlled religion. It's very strict. Actually, I have Muslim friends. I don't mind being with them, but personally, if I was to be a Muslim, I would practice the most liberal form of Islam, most liberal, whereby I don't even, I don't have to go to the mosque all the time. It's liberalism is very good for any religion. You are free. It's specific. It's subjective. You don't live according to the rules of the main religion. And then some things you don't have to do. Like, if you look at Muslim countries, not all of them are strict. You see, there are sects in Islam. The Wahhabi sect is the most strict sect. This is where the women wear burqa, even if it's burning hot, they will wear. And imagine wearing black. Black thing in the hot sun. It is scientifically wrong. Because you're just going to cook yourself inside there. You cannot wear black when it's burning hot. It's because black absorbs heat. It's the color black is very good for absorbing heat. That's why black people live in hot places. It's because melanin, the black skin can take in the dangerous UV rays. The rays of the sun are very dangerous. They can kill. And people have sunstrokes, you know. But when you have this skin, you're okay because it is black. But now imagine you're wearing a black burqa. And you're just being cooked inside, you know, because the skin is okay because the skin has regulators. Burqa has no regulators. So you're just being cooked. You'll be sweaty. So that's the problem we have with Islam. It's a very strict religion. To me, the most liberal religion, Abrahamic faith, is Christianity. I like it for its liberalism. It's already liberal. You know, you're not even forced. Can you imagine Christianity? You can eat pork very easily. You can even eat a dog. Yes. Paul said, eat anything. Just give thanks to God. Whatever you get, eat it. Even cannibals are in that group. Yes. Even people who eat rats. Yes. Because he said anything. We're going to read that verse and you'll collapse. He said, just give thanks to God. But Jews, they don't eat pork. Arabs also don't eat pork. Or Muslims. Because these days we also have Arabs who have become Christian. Now I wonder, these Christian Arabs, do they eat pork? You know, the new Christian Arabs. Oh, this is a very long topic. I can't talk about it forever. It's because it's emerging. It is not yet settled. So, these interfaith relations they need to be encouraged. People need to sit down and discuss and know, what is Islam? You're a Christian. Please go and study Islam. Yes, you're living with Muslims. It is wrong for you to attack a Muslim and you don't know what he believes. You see? It is wrong for a Muslim to attack a Christian and you don't know what a Christian believes in. So go and read and study. Thanks to the internet, we're able to know different religions. Now, when you know different religions, you'll be able to talk to them. Look at Obama. Obama, I respect him for being part of a very good church that is tolerant to all religions. That's UCC. And UCC has a view that you're supposed to foster relations with other religions so that you can live in peace. So these are peacemakers. They know we can't agree on our religious views. So what they say, let's make peace by knowing each other, saying hi to each other. We can pray together, we can eat together. And this is why Obama found it was very easy for him to travel to the Arab world because he was not an Islamophobe. You know, most of the times they see American presidents as Islamophobes. Even Trump is just lucky he has buildings, he has property in the Arab world. Otherwise, the world will be in war. So, now look what's happening in Europe. Do you know what's happening in Europe? People are looking at it at the racial angle. They are not looking at it at the religious angle. And we'll do another video about what's happening in Europe. It's very important to understand. Europe was secular and is secular. Now, the refugees and the immigrants that are going to Europe are religious. They are not secular. That is the issue. So what does this mean? These religious people, find it very hard to live under a secular government. But do you know the easiest government to live in is a secular government? Because secular governments don't interfere with your lifestyle. As long as you keep the law, there are certain things you should be law abiding. But when it comes to religion, it's a private practice, private issue, so don't worry. Now, the problem Europe is having is that they are seeing a scenario whereby these religious people will supersede the secular population, and that could change the politics of that country. So what does that mean? That you may have very many Muslim legislators, and they may now say, let's try and put Sharia law. You see, that's the fear. It's actually based on fear. So what they need to understand, both Europeans and Muslim immigrants, they need to sit down on the table and discuss how are we going to live with Islam. And secondly, they should even discuss the future of Europe, because it's possible. Europe can become Islamic. Who said it can't? And the Arab world can become Christian. Who said it can't? Yes. And the whole world can become atheist. Who said it can't? Imagine, what if Jesus comes and then just declares, you know what, guys? I've come to tell you, it was just a joke. I'm not the King of Kings, and I don't know how the world came. Imagine if Jesus came and gave a teleconference on all TV stations, and he beams from somewhere and says, you know what, guys? The world is so messed up. I just say, carry on. Just go and do whatever you want with the world. There's no judgment day. We've closed, we've cancelled it. No more judgment for people. You guys have done too much. My blood is expiring. So continue with your life. Imagine he gives that speech and people just be like, what? You mean there's no heaven? Yeah, guys, we cooked the story. We just wanted to make you happy. No heaven. Just enjoy yourselves on the earth. That day, the whole world will become atheist and leave religion, and they will become atheists. So anything can happen to the world makeup. So you have to have outcomes, you know. You have to be prepared for such outcomes. I mean, what if an alien comes and conquers? One alien just comes from the sky and shows us powers, and he does everything, and he even gives people powers. Then he says, you know what, this is the new religion. Leave the religions you're following. It can happen in that one day. Never play with one day. One day everything can turn, and you find yourself changing your religion because of a very powerful event of an alien coming from the planet called Oz. Or the planet called Kryptonia, or the planet called Kalinda comes down and then declares that now we have come from another planet, and we're taking you away, and we're giving you the powers. You're now going to live forever. Who is going to remain a Christian? You? Not me. I'm going to change that time because I've got what I wanted. I mean, the guy is giving me what I want. You know why people settle down with their religions is because they give them what they want. Yes, you go for a religion because it gives you what you want. Most people have no choice because they were indoctrinated when they were children. That's why most Muslims, Christians, Jews, they can't leave their religion because they were born with it. The environment was Christian, the environment was Muslim. They were reading Bible. You know, look at Jehovah's Witness. The books, oh my, they are very good for children. Children, when I was a kid, I would try and look and say, wow, look at the lions and all of the lamb and everything, heaven on earth. Yes, it goes into the child's mind. And the most important part of mind growth is during childhood. whatever happened in your childhood is significant. It affects you till today. It's you may try and break out away from it, but it's very hard because it's like a building. Your brain matter is like a building, the foundations. Pa, pa, pa. Every year, a layer, a layer, a layer, a layer. So if you have to remove layers, you will have to go down to the foundation. And if you go to the foundation, the whole building collapses. That's why most people, it's very hard to. That's why even the so-called gay conversion therapy is wrong. Because you're trying to change somebody when it's too late. It's too late. The person is born gay. What are you changing? The foundation. The biological foundation is gay. Yes, you can't. This is why transgenders are given hormones. Yes, because to build up the sex they are now have acquired. It's a fact. And no one should stop them from doing that. That's what they want to do. But what is wrong is where you kill or you try and change someone's sexuality because you believe they are not supposed to be like that. No, that one is wrong. A gay person is gay. That is his nature. You can't change him. If you change him, you are destroying him. Because the foundation. That's why all these people who say they're ex-gays, they're not ex-gays, they're bisexual. And their foundation was not gay. It wasn't. It was something else. They were straight. And then they got gay tendencies. That's what now made them bisexual. That's why it's so easy for them to become ex-gay. It's because it was not them. Yeah, but those who are natural born, you don't do those things to them. It's bad. It's disastrous. And that's why most of them commit suicide. So anyway, let's finish here and say it's time for all of us to keep on discussing and interacting with every religion, especially Islam and Christianity. All people in the world who are not Muslim should read Islam. That's number one. Should study Islam. Why? It is going to be, if the factors remain constant, it is going to be the largest religion in the world by 2050. And that will change world politics as you know it. Do you know even Israel, the issue of Israel is affected by that notion that Islam will be the largest religion? You need to know what is Islam's view of Israel. Yes, it's important. These are discussions that need to happen in UN. And leaders need to talk about it. Otherwise, we'll just see wars. There's nothing else. What else do you want me to predict? What else will you want me to predict? It will just be war. Because Islam, there must be a view that Islam has on Israel. And the people who live in Israel right now are not Muslim. So what does that mean? And 2050, it is Islam which is the largest religion in the world. So what does that mean? They will have the most power. Yes. Power to change systems. Power. Because do you know right now the world system is Western because of Christianity. The Catholic Church was the real architect of Western civilization. Because the Roman Catholic, the Holy Roman Empire, the other name, to spell Europe, I've been doing this thing called conceptual definition. To spell Europe in another term, the other spelling for Europe is Holy Roman Empire. Meaning Catholic. It was a Catholic empire, the whole of Europe. So what does that mean? If the systems that were born in the time when Europe was Holy Roman, it is mostly Catholic. That's why even the civil law and then common law is English, because the Anglican Church became an empire. The British Empire is an Anglican empire. So there's the Anglican Empire and there's the Roman Empire. The Anglican Empire means the English Empire and the Roman Empire. And look at how the English Empire was big. It even owned America. There was a war in America. Do you know Eastern America belonged to the Anglican Empire and Western America belonged to the Roman Empire? Yes, that's what's happening. Look at why did Britain leave Europe? If you go deep inside Brexit, it is this reason I brought out. Yes, they were not Catholic. They have been raised in an Anglican system that is different from the Roman system. Roman system is civil law, and the Anglican is common law. The Magna Carta. If you read the history of that document, the Pope even complained. Yes, it was a change in England that it was giving rights to human beings. Anyway, I don't want to talk. I think, no offense, sometimes these stories are very nice because they make you understand the world. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you have to understand. So number one, study Islam. If you're not a Muslim, study it, read the Quran, even the translated version in the language you know, so that you can understand the religion and therefore able to discuss with them. Because as far as you don't understand it, you can't discuss with a Muslim. And if you can't discuss with a Muslim, then what problem are you solving? When we have very many problems, like right now, we have problems of, as I told you, the Israeli problem and the Palestinian problem is so big, it can affect the economies of the world. And time is money. If time is wasted on solving a problem for thousands of years, it's never solved. It means we'll waste our effort on something that can be solved if both sides are knowledgeable about what they're talking about. It's simple. Because people don't feel time is being lost because we are going to die. So people are born, every year people are being born to fight a war that has been 10,000 years old. We are solving a 10,000-year problem. Now imagine if that problem was solved. Like let's say the Israeli problem was solved and there was peace in the world. Our efforts would be now into the planets. How can we go and travel to the planets? Our efforts would be, how can we build cities in the sea? Yes, we can do it. We can build cities in the sea and stop using land. But as long as we have, look at your own life. If you have very many problems in your life, how will you even solve? How will you even progress when you have not, and you've not solved those problems? Many problems. Have you seen that if you're in an office in your desk and you have a high heap of files, you must finish. Now tell me, are you going to go and do something else when there's a high heap of files waiting for you to finish? You will not. You will have to finish that high heap of files, then go and do the other thing. Now, what if the other thing you want to do is going to bring more money? But you cannot leave this high heap of files, because if you do it, you lose your job. You see? So you have to keep on calculating and seeing that if finishing this high heap of files will get me money, and then I go to this one and it get me money, I'd rather finish this one now. So, the Israeli problem, now. Terrorism, now. All of this Islamic, Christian animosity, now. Solve them. Otherwise, if you don't solve them, Europe versus the Arab Muslims, the immigration problem, deal with it now. Otherwise, time will go, you're not able to solve the problem, and And you've wasted time of progress, because the world is now at a time where it can progress. Do you know how many diseases are being destroyed now because of science, and yet the world is in war? Now imagine what if the world was not in war. We would have solved so many things within a short time. So that's what I'm trying to say. So let's study Islam, read history, read Islamic history. Put yourself in the shoes of a Muslim. Then I also say this to Muslims: read Christianity. Yes, we are not living in the Middle Ages whereby you can't read another person. These days Arabs are also reading. Muslims are also intellectual. So read about Christians. Read Christian history. It's a lot. It's a fact. It has to be a lot. They came before Islam. So they have more things to say. So read them and find out, why is it Christians are like this, and what are the sects in Christianity. You will find yourself to be very calm. I will end with the story of Professor Ali Mazrui. He married a Christian, and he's a Muslim, very educated Muslim. Of course, he passed away. Why did he marry a Christian? He understood Christianity. He understood Christianity. He read. He was an intellectual, brilliant historian. And it's his reading that made him understand that, okay, these are what Christians are. So he didn't fear marrying a Christian. And he didn't convert her. He didn't tell her to become Muslim. She remained Christian. So, why? Intellectual reading. There is no harm in reading. And this is what I was discussing with someone. We should do the literacy levels in the Arab world against the Christian world. And if there is literacy problem in the Arab world, solve it. That's why the Arab Spring happened. Do you know how many European countries have had Arab Spring? It's because the European world is more literate. They know how to solve democratic problems. Governments resign. But in Arab countries, people are not literate. So it's very easy to get a gang of people and bring them and topple a government. I mean, look at how many wars are now happening. Are they in Europe? They're in the Middle East. Yemen in trouble. Syria in trouble. Gaza in trouble. Libya gone. Why? We have to study and find out the reasons. And one of them could be literacy. Yes. People just let people live. They didn't value education of people, and then now they've become a time bomb, because you can't employ an uneducated person. And even if you employ them, how much will you pay them when they can't do heavy duty work? See? These are the things we need to do. So Muslims also need to take their time and study Christians. Don't fear. Even Muslims fear Christians. Don't fear Christians. And Christians fear Muslims. Don't fear Muslims. They are humans just like you. Just read them. And then when you've got good knowledge, sit down with one and discuss and say, tell us, I read this. What does it mean? You see? Talk about honor killing. Why is it accepted? Why should you kill somebody? Because they have refused to marry the person they have chosen. You see? These are the things. Otherwise, if we cannot dialogue, look at what the Bible says. Come, let us reason together. It's not saying God and you only. Even your neighbor. Even your friend, whom you're not able to see eye to eye. Sit down and reason together. In every problem, always remember, come and reason together. And that is the foundation of interfaith relations.